Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Matthew Kukah, has said Nigerians' president since independence were accidental except President Bola Tinubu. Tracing the history of Nigerians' leadership, the cleric observed that none of the country's past leaders, including former President Muhammadu Buhari, Goodluck Jonathan, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Olusegun Obasanjo, Ernest Shinekon, Sani Abacha, among others, came to power prepared. He, however, lamented that the nation is still suffering despite President Tinubu's preparedness to govern the country. Kukah stated this in his keynote address at the 4th Amaka Undoma Egba Memorial Lecture with the theme Leaders of Tomorrow, Creating Lasting Change in a Complex World, held weekend in Abuja. Here, the Archdiocese of Sokoto State is saying something very important, that leaders are the problems of Nigeria, that leaders that has been governed the Nigerian, they were not prepared, even right from the independence. He mentioned leaders like Muhammadu Buhari, Goodluck Jonathan, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, Olusegun Obasanjo, Ernest Shinekon, and Sani Abacha, among others. He mentioned their name. He said these people, they were not prepared before coming to office as a president because their impact is not felt in the nation. He, however, lamented that the nation is still suffering despite President Tinubu's preparedness to govern the country. You see, the deceased, who was the wife of the former Senate leader, Senator Ndoma Egba, died in auto crash in Ondo State in 2020. The event, which was held at the Start Right School, Abuja, saw the inauguration of a legacy building in honor of the deceased by the governor of Cross River State, Senator Basi Ott. Now, the place that the cleric was speaking is the event organized at the 4th Amaka Udoma Egba Memorial Lecture with the theme Leaders of Tomorrow. That was the place the cleric was speaking this word from. And it's a kind of trying to trace the history of Nigeria, how our leaders rules and have failed the country and have succeeded bringing the country to where it is today. And then Kukah lamented that Nigeria's leadership crisis was due to the lack of knowledge, capacity, and preparedness of its leaders, who simply wanted to govern and enrich themselves and cronies and nothing more. He said, I don't want to bore you, but run through from the beginning. You will find that almost everybody who came to power in Nigeria was as a result of one accident or the other. Yes, what he's saying is that the leaders that has ruled Nigeria, they came to power accidentally. None of them has prepared. It's like they don't know what it takes to become president or to occupy one eminent position or the other. They were not prepared. For example, what brought Goodluck Jonathan to power as a president is as a result of the death of Musa Yar'Adua. Now, Obasanjo was in the prison and then he was brought out to contest as the president. He eventually won, as they said. You can see that all these things, they were not prepared. That is what this man is trying to point out. President Bola Tinubu, well, he prepared for it. However, we're still trying to get off the ground. But he took over from Buhari, who had already given up. Buhari took over from Jonathan, who was thinking that the finishing being deputy governor, he would go somewhere else, and then something's happened. Jonathan took over from Yaradua, who had actually said he was going to teach at Ahmadu Bello University as he was finishing his term as governor. Yaradua took over from Obasanjo, who was in prison and was not expecting to come out, but he somehow found himself out of prison. Obasanjo took over from Abacha, who sadly, even though the 5 political parties had said he would rule forever, nature took him. Abacha took over from Enesinekon, who was busy at the United African Company of Nigeria, and then they told him to come and be head of state. We can go all the way down, but the fundamental to govern is knowledge. You see, the man was trying to trace the history that brought those people to power. You can see that they were not ready, they were not prepared. One incident or the other brought them to power. That is why we are observing all these crises, all these things that is happening in our country. No competent, no knowledge, no understanding to do things. In fact, all they were there to do is to just enrich themselves. Now, tell me, who is the president right from the head of state? That is right from the military era to this era. Who can assure Nigeria that he is clean, that he has not been involved in one corruption or the other? Who usually that can come and stand before the citizen of this country and say, my hands is clean, oh, I have not steal 1 naira during the time that I was president? Who can come and say that? Nobody. The leaders from military era to this civilian rule, they are the problem we have. There were people who has been involving in money laundering, corruption, fraudulence here and there. Now, who is the common man that they have said that to? No, they were all our leaders, and none of these people are being prosecuted. They were all in the houses, enjoy the money they have stolen while they were in the office. So, my people, this is where we call it a day. Thanks for listening. Please do subscribe for more news on this channel.